Well, hello everyone. Welcome to World at War Comics. My next guest is Carrow Brown. Carroll, thank you for being here with me. Editor over at Rippaverse, and then an amazing writer of a lot of different stuff that hopefully we could talk about tonight. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little tired, but I think that's like my default response whenever I come to these. It's like, how are you? It's like, I'm tired. Yeah. So,
All good. We'll have some fun. This will be nice and light, and I can't wait to talk comics with you. Got to see you at SpaceCon, which was really exciting. I think the last time I saw you was 2 years ago, believe it or not, at San Diego Comic-Con. Um, I think it was
no,
2 years ago. What was
I
it?
don't I don't think it was San Diego because I didn't go to San Diego. I went to MegaCon and I
Mhm.
went to the Dallas Fan Expo.
Dallas
Uh,
is where I saw you.
yeah, I
Sorry,
think that's it. Yeah,
Dallas.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Because I think Rippaverse, what are they at San Diego Comic Con or no?
yeah. It was like a small group that went. It was like three
Oh,
people,
okay.
and then we kind of like booth bummed off of Gabe, who was kind enough to be
Yeah.
like, come hang out with me. And so they went and hanged out.
Very
So,
cool. Very
yeah.
cool. So yeah, it was Dallas at the beginning of the year is where I saw you then. And then
Yeah.
just recently at SpaceCon, which I know is moving to like the beginning of the year next year, which we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, they said they did it for sci-fi reasons, and I was like, that's cool. Just tell me when to be there. That's
Yeah.
all I want to know.
It was a pretty cool con. I enjoyed it. And was it pretty successful for all of you?
Conventions are mixed results for people when you have a booth because if the talent that goes there is really dominating, it has a trickle effect on the booth. So like I've gone to conventions where like the talent's been like okay and the booths do really well, and then I've gone to ones where the talent was like overwhelming. So like the booths were like nobody's coming over, like we're like just kind of sitting here twiddling our thumbs. SpaceCon this year was kind of like a little bit of both. So like on the days where when you had like the Starship Troopers and then you had what was his name? He was on X-Files. Anyway, that guy, he was there. So
Uh-huh.
on those days we definitely noticed that there was like a shift in sales, but overall we did fine.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It was great seeing you and your husband there and the rest of the team. It was really nice. Yeah, I wanted to jump in. So my first experience of you as a writer was Dirty Deeds in
Oh, thank you.
Ripazine 3. So, and then you were nice enough to sign that up at Dallas Fan Expo. But yeah, great story. It was like almost nonstop action the entire time, which I
Yeah.
absolutely loved. It was
Yeah.
pretty fun. When did that whole storyline begin for you? How long have you been sitting on that before it made it into Ripazine?
We did a survey. If anybody's been here for a hot minute, like occasionally we send out surveys like, what kind of merch do you like? What kind of books do you read? And at one point, when I did one of those surveys, one of the things that they said is like, we would like to see more fantasy and sci-fi. And I was like, we don't have either of those. That's amazing, right? And Eric said, it's like, you know what? It's time. Why don't you like, get your pitch ready? And I was like, oh, cool. What am I gonna write? And I was like, I should write sci-fi because that's what the people want. So about oh man, was it June? A Drink with Crazy had a friend barbecue, so I flew to Iowa to go to that, and so that was appropriate because Iowa is like the home of Star Trek, right? And I was like, this is meant to be. This is when I'm supposed to work on this, and so on the way there and on the way back, I fleshed out the characters and the overall idea, and so when I got home, that's when I sat down and I wrote like the 16-page script, and then as soon as I was done with that, I was sitting there and I was like, man, if I just have a script, like I don't think that's gonna get me very far. Right. And so what I did was I had worked with Evan Scale on a previous project. And so I went to him. I was like, how much time do you have? And he's like, well, what do you need? And I was like, can you crank out like 4 pages? And he was like, sure. And so I sent him the script. And so he knocked out the 4 pages and sent them to me. And then my messy butt like tried to letter it, right? Because I'm not very good at it, but I had to bring something. I had him color the first page as well. So when I went to go do my pitch with Eric, I came with like the full script, the first 4 pages of the artist, and I showed him basically the full scale of what the artist could do, ranging from like coloring to the black and whites. And Eric was like, "Yeah, we should do this." And I was like, "Fantastic! That was well worth it." So
Nice. Well,
yeah,
it came out really nice. Let me just at least pop up on the screen a few of the pages because Evan's art is
it's
really
so
good.
good.
Oh,
It's so
oh yeah.
good.
And the action is just insane. Here's toward the end of the story, but some crazy action scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who ended up doing the lettering?
We have an in-house
Oh,
studio. They're called Invisible Art. So if you
gotcha.
ever get any of our books, they usually do all of the lettering for us.
Came out really nice.
Hmm.
Really cool. So if you want to like have a nonstop action story that you want to read that's sci-fi, you definitely want to you want to read Dirty Deeds because it is
Yeah.
nonstop. It's like every page is just fighting. So yeah, very cool. Congratulations on that. That's pretty
Thank
awesome.
you.
But obviously, that's not the first thing you've ever done. You've been writing
No.
for quite a while.
Yeah.
I know at SpaceCon we were going through your website, which I know you're making some changes on now, but
Yeah.
you have a pretty long running st couple storylines, right, that you've been doing in comics. You want to talk a little bit about that and maybe give us like a little bit of an elevator pitch so fans know what to expect once the
Oh
site's
man.
back up?
Yeah, no, so I've done a lot. Some of it's been under my name, some of it's been ghostwriting. Some of it may never see the light of day.
The
Some
life
of
of a
this
writer, right?
it really is. You guys have no idea. So the very early stuff I wrote was actually under the wing of Reese York, who was the art director for Blue's Clues and also the art director for Secret World, the MMO. And he I don't even remember how we I think we met through an internet friend,
Yeah.
right? And so his internet friend had recommended me because he needed some admin help, right? And then of course he was like, "Wait, you write too?" And I was like, "Sometimes, maybe." And so when he hired me to come help him at one location, which I will not mention right now, one of the things that they said was like, well, we need somebody to help write with stuff. And I was like, oh, I can write stuff, right? And that was when I learned the all the nuts and bolts about comic writing and about like panel pacing and all of it. And when if you think like trying to squeeze a story into 16 pages is tough, I sometimes only had like 4 pages.
Oh wow.
Right. Yeah, they were like, you have to tell this entire character story in 4 pages and you can't use more than 5 panels a page. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Right. So that's where I really learned about like condensed dialogue, show don't tell for comics. It's a little different and page turns and like everything. So I'm mentioning that because I wrote about 15 stories for that company that will probably never come out. So I just wanted to share that. Um, but so that's where I started writing there. And then I have a couple other things that came out. The one that you and I talked about, it's oh, I can't remember what we all talked about. We talked about so many wonderful things and they
We
just kind of,
did. We
yeah.
did. So it was, what was it?
I
It
think it
wasn't
was
Quarantine Avatar, was it? I think we
well,
talked a little bit about that one.
no, no, we did
No.
we did talk about that, but I think the one of the comics we talked about was Raven of Ruin, which is
Raven,
like
that's the one. Yeah.
yeah, so that's the one I'm working on with a fantastic artist, Liban, and I need to get it back up. I'm in the middle of transitioning to another platform because as uh, one of the things that the industry is trying to figure out is like where are the readers at and how do we reach them and what's the best way to reach them. And so, I mean, to the surprise of no one, it's the phone. Right. So I've been trying to find ways to make my work accessible and phone friendly. And so that's why I'm working with trying to work and putting everything on Ream right now because I tried on my website to make it work and it really didn't work out the way I wanted to. Like it just, I'm not a developer and I tried plugins and themes and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, it was just too janky. So it's all going to go over there. But so Raven of Ruin is like my dark fantasy comic about basically a troupe performer who uh, unknowingly finds herself in like this giant conflict between kings and gods. And she's kind of like, I don't want to be part of this, but now I am because somebody killed my family. I have to find out why. And I know some people are going to be like, that sounds a lot like The Wise Man's Fear. And I know that, but here's the big difference between my story and The Wise Man's Fear. It's that I'm going to actually finish it. Okay, that's the big difference. All right. I've
A
been
little bit
waiting
of a
for
difference there, yeah.
yeah, I've waited forever for that final book. You guys have no idea. I'm like sitting here being like, one day this book will come out. It's just like the, what is it? Winds of Winter. That's
Yeah.
the one that we're waiting for as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that'll ever get done. Doesn't sound like.
No, I think what he did, I think Martin, first name basis, like we're friends. I think
Yeah.
Martin gave his outline to the directors and it was received so poorly. He was like, I could never write this
Oh,
ever. But
yeah.
yeah, I had a lot of fun writing Raven to Ruin. I actually wrote it first in long form, and then at one point I was like, I don't know if this is the appropriate medium for this. I think I might have to go comic. And so I tested it, and that's when I found Le Bon. I was like, you seem to have like this cool like Coraline kind of art style that I'm into. Like, do you want money in exchange for art? And she was like, yes, I do. And so we've had this relationship for like 2 years now. It's been great.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put the link for Ream so that you could follow Carrow on Ream. So I'll put that down there below, make it really
Yeah.
easy for all of you so you could go check it out with some of her other things too. You could also become a member, and there's different levels of membership that
Yeah.
you could do to get a lot of different types of access to all of your storylines. But
Mhm.
yeah, it looked dope when we were looking at it together. So I
Yeah.
can't wait to see, whenever you're done with your site, to make it accessible again because it was pretty cool. I look forward to
Yeah.
getting into that.
Yeah, we're so I'm pretty sure like when we finish like issue 3, I'm gonna put like those three together and print it. Just because it makes more sense to print it when there's more pages in the book. But Laban and I are taking a quick break from that story now that she's finished chapter 2 because there's another project I want to do. I didn't tell you about this one. So
No.
you get the exclusive on it. But so this project is called Twisted Tales of Twin Ravens. And it's basically the story. It's like a grim fairy tales for children kind of thing. Where they're kind of like a little like I don't want to say scary because the first time I had it read, they thought I wrote horror. I was like, no, it's a children's story, right? Like I swear it's a children's story. But they're like grim tale themed and they've got like a moral. So like the first one I wrote is basically like, friendship is something that you have to work for. It just doesn't magically happen, right? So she got really excited when I sent her that script. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna go back to chapter 3 of Raven of Ruin. If you think or you're kind of looking at this being like, why do you have so many ravens? I'm a fan. I really like ravens. I even got them tattooed on my arm. Okay, like I'm into it. That's my thing.
I mean, who else better to write a story like that than someone who has it tattooed on their arm? I think that,
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely a qualifier for sure, Carol.
Yeah, yeah. I have a slight obsession. It's okay, guys. It's okay.
All good, all good. We all have our obsessions for sure. And then I was on Amazon, and I'll share my screen because there's a lot of other stuff that you have going on too. And maybe you could talk through some of these storylines that you've done.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'll put
So
this link down there too, so you could actually follow Carol on Amazon and start digging into all of the stories that you've been writing there.
yeah. Okay. So the I'm pointing like you guys can see, like just pretend. So that first book, Queen of Swords and Silence, is actually my very first novel that I debuted with. And then Toasted Marshmallow, Staff Meeting, I think underneath there is Salem Times. Those are actually reader magnets I used to have for my newsletter. So if you were on my newsletter, I would just send you a short story that was anywhere between like 7 and 12,000 words. And then after like a couple of months, I would put it up on the website. So I actually have like 2 more of those that I
Oh,
should probably finish. But the some of them were actually all of these are prequels that you can read before the book. But I tried to write them in a way where if you didn't read the book, you could still kind of follow what was going on. Staff Meeting is probably like if you want to talk about like the pure snark of this character, that captures that really well. Toasted marshmallows is let me think. That is when monsters face monsters kind of theme, like who's the bigger monster in the scene. And then Salem Times was like I can't remember what I had seen. I'd seen something that involved witches in Salem and then like, like any writer like you get like this kernel idea and you're like, "Oh yeah, like I want to write that." And so this was basically my main character, Ghost, during the Salem witch trials when she got summoned to go help some witches with a situation that had arisen. I had a lot of fun writing that one. That one was good.
and then what's this Carol's Tarot?
Oh, Carrow's Tarot. So, oh man, my name is Carrow and I have too much tarot, as I used to say it. I love collecting tarot decks. I have like it's a mild obsession. In fact, there's one right here on my desk right now. I've always so this started off with as an obsession of me trying to understand my mother because she was very much into the occult and I did not understand her, so I thought if I understood the occult, I would understand her. Long story short, that didn't happen.
I was just gonna ask, did that work?
No, it did not work at all. But in this journey to try and understand, I came across like, tarot, and one of the things I really love about tarot isn't so much like the divination or the use of it, although I did learn a lot about that. But what I really liked was about how you could learn a lot about the artist through the way that they decided to depict certain cards.
Mm.
And so I got like really, really into that. So sometimes like I would see like a deck that would come out and sometimes the art would grab me and sometimes it wouldn't because you can see like when stuff's superficial or not. But then you have like some people like this. So one of the reasons I like this deck is because this guy's got all kinds of like mythology going on in this. So this is Fenrir, right, when his jaws get stabbed together. And I'm a big Norse fan, so I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, I'm into it. And then as I was going through, there's other stuff like Persephone as death, and just there's so much in here. So it's like from an intellectual standpoint, I like it like that. At one point, I can't remember who I was talking to, but they were like, "Oh yeah, my friend did a tarot deck too," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, do you have it?" And they showed it to me. And one of the cards they showed me was the Queen of Swords, and I looked at it. I was like, "Does your friend hate women?" They're like, "How did you know?" Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, you can see I know nothing about it because I call it tarot, so it's tarot.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. It's so it everybody likes to it's so tarot is very funny because they like to be like, oh, it was a time before time when we were reading stars. Like, no, it came from Italy. I'm sorry, it was a card game. Okay, it was a lot like Rummy. Face cards were 10 points, other cards were 1 point, and then gypsies and other people got their hands like, well, let me tell you a future with some cardboard, and people were super into it. Okay, they were really into it. And you have the tarot deck that came out, Rider, was it Rider? No, not Rider Carroll. Oh, I wrote all about it in the book. But you had the core book come out, and then everybody basically started mimicking it. But then here's the really exciting part, guys. Entertainment realized that they could make money if they made TV themed decks. And what did they do? They made TV themed decks. They're like everywhere. Supernatural, Alice in Wonderland, Nightmare Before Christmas. Do I own all these decks? Yes, I do. They're in my closet
I
over
was gonna say, do you collect
Yes.
those too, though?
Yeah. No, at one point, like my collection was about to actually hit the triple digits, and I was like, I have a problem. Like, I really do. And so in some cases, like I gifted some of the decks away. Some of them I've left in the box. There was one I was hunting for a really long time. It was called the True Dark deck because it was just like fantastic art with solid black backgrounds, and I was really into how it looked. But the problem when you have cards that have solid black backgrounds like that is if the cardstock isn't black as well, as you start to use and wear the cards, the white starts to show and then starts to fray and it kind of looks cheap. So yeah. So that deck just sits there and looks pretty. That's all it does. Because I'm like, I am not ruining these cards. I am not. But yeah, so anyway, going back to your question about Tarot's Carrow, at one point somebody was like, "Man, you know so much about this. Have you thought about writing a book?" And I was like, "No, I haven't. I should do that." And so I wrote the book. It's like 500 pages long. But the reason it's 500 pages long is I kind of cover in the beginning the front matter, as we like to call it. I talk about like my first time, like I encountered tarot, like how I kind of walked with it. I also talk about like some basics and things to look out for because there's a lot of charlatans in tarot reading. There's a lot of charlatans in general, but there's a
Right.
couple of like red flags where I'm like, if you say this, just fucking leave. Like you don't need to be there, right? So I did that. And then I also, if you wanted to get into tarot reading, in the back, I talked about business ways that you could get into it and not to be surprised when certain things happen. But obviously, the bulk of the book is all about the cards. So with the cards, I have a song, I have a story, I have if the card is a person, a situation, and what the actual card meaning is for the upright and the inverse meaning, because they have different meanings sometimes if it's a reverse or not. So that was a lot. Like it was like some people were like, "You're crazy to write this book," and I was like, "It was your idea. You told me to write the book. I wrote it. Okay." Yeah, so that's what that book is. So it's if you wanna read about the occult and get like some snippets of my life, because each card also has like a story in there about like a person that I know that's related to the card. So yeah, and I've encountered like some people. Like I don't even know if I have it here. Let me look.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. Yeah, that I've never like tried it or done anything with it because it kind of scares me to be honest, just from stories I've heard. And again, maybe they're exaggerated, but like, yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I don't have one because I would probably use it as a door stopper. It's just you know what here, because one of the things I have in the book, and I'll be happy to share it with you too, is that people usually don't go to a tarot reader, a doctor, or a bartender if they're having a good day, right? They're going because they have something that they're probably trying to get off their chest or somebody that they want to use as a sounding board. And so oftentimes, a good tarot reader is aware of that. And so what they do is they're actually paying attention to like what your concerns are and they should be helping you work through it. That's what they should be doing.
Mm,
Absolutely. But
yeah.
I have run into some tarot readers where they're like, "Oh yeah, you should go off your psychotic meds." And I'm like, "You fool, shut the fuck up, put the cards down, don't ever do
Don't do
this
that.
again." Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So it's Yeah, because and they're like, oh no, you see, I've been touched by the sight. And I was like, I'm about to touch you in the head. Like, stop doing that. Because I have run into situations where somebody has done like a poor reading and it has had really dire consequences. So it's like you have to be careful because when it's like when you're talking to somebody who's putting like that much trust and investment into what you're saying, you can't just be like, oh, so, yeah.
So where did this passion for storytelling start in your life? And was there someone in your life that kind of encouraged it?
It probably started. It started honestly when I was in middle school and I read a really terrible book. And I am the kind of writer that if I read bad shit, it just inspires me to like do something else, right? And so I had read this book and it was like a time traveler romance novel. And I didn't even know that was a thing until later, but it is. And, I guess this was a duality book. But this book I had read for my book report, it didn't say that there was going to be a book two. Like there was nothing indicating that. It just kind of it ended with, and then she opened her eyes, and I was like, okay, but then what the fuck happened? Like
Yeah.
what?
Now what?
Yeah, I was yeah, and there again, no pages indicating that there was going to be another story or anything like that. It's just and then she opened her eyes. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic, right? And I went to my teacher and I bitched about it, like you do when you're like 12. And she said, for your project, if you want to rewrite the ending, I'll accept that. And I was like, man, say less. And so like I rewrote like the last 4 or 5 pages of that and turned it in. That was like my first time venturing into writing. And after that, when I was kind of like, man, like can I do this like whenever I want? Like and so that's when I got into like things like fan fiction writing because like sometimes you get into like some fandoms where like this doesn't make any sense. And my favorite one that I wrote for probably a long time was Dragon Ball Z because I was really obsessed to the surprise of no one about the space that we didn't really explore in Dragon Ball Z. Like space was out there and there was monsters and stuff. And then I was like, but what happened out in space? Like what was it like to be on, planet Vegeta before like, it went kaboom, right? And then at one point I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Not every Saiyan in the galaxy was on planet Vegeta when it went kaboom. There had to be more. And so I started writing stories about these like made up Saiyans that were just like not on planet Vegeta. And then I also got really excited because when you killed like the whole Frieza Empire, I was like, oh man, that's a giant power vacuum. Like there's gonna be all kinds of criminals coming out. And so I started writing about that too. And so yeah, I had a great time.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I missing anything that you have written? Because you have some love stories as well, right?
Oh man, that's the nicest way anybody said that. Yes, I do in fact have romance novels.
Romance,
Uh,
there you go. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just say that because some of them are a little bit more on the spicy side.
Oh,
So
very good.
that
Yeah, yeah. Nothing wrong
yeah.
with that.
Yeah, so that's under a pen name called Faye Black. And I was originally just going to
Ah.
put everything under one name, but what happened was somebody else I knew who writes romance was like, no, you have to have separate. It will confuse your readers. And I was like, but they all know I wrote it, so where's the confusion? It's like, no, you have to split them. And so Carrow Brown, Faye Black, my next name will probably be something violet. I don't know. I'll find a color, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Because I was where was it at? I was just doing a little bit of research and I did see a Faye Black and I'm like, I don't think that's her.
No,
So
that's
I was
me. That's
like,
absolutely me.
that is
Uh,
absolutely very
yeah, that's
good.
absolutely me. Yeah, so I have a lot of short stories under that one, and the reason I have so many short stories under Faye Black is because at one point I was trying to test the Amazon algorithm
Uh-huh.
to make money because that's what I like to make money, guys. Like I can't just write these books. I have to make like a little bit of
I
cash
don't
on
think
it.
there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. And so what I did for about 13 weeks is I released one short story on Amazon a week. That's why if you go under there, you're like, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
All
did
making
that.
sense to me now, just so you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, so I did that for about 13 weeks. I ended up discontinuing it because the answer is yes, I did make more money, but it wasn't enough money to cover the cost of the work I was producing. So on average, any short story, actually really any story outside of the writing and the editing part, takes me about it's like $150 to do,
Mm.
right? Because there's the cover artist, the formatting, all of that stuff. And there's some of it I can do on my own, but some of it I do need another person to come in for. And unfortunately, because of the way that beta reading works, so beta readers are usually a person that will read the book before it goes into publishing to provide feedback or anything like that. And I have always had mixed results with beta readers and I find their input to be really important. So I have to pay for the beta reading at
Mm.
this point. So on average, every one of those short stories that you see under Faye Black cost me about 150 each to do.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So the reason I ended up closing the experiment was because 150 times 13, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I was only making $30 a month off of that. And I was like, that's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely not worth it. So I ended up being kind of like, well, at least I have a really nice erotica portfolio. Look at
There
my
you go.
stories, guys. So yeah.
That's awesome. I actually love it though. That's pretty cool. You also are let's see here. Linktree. So I'm gonna put your Linktree down because it has all the links to everything that you're kind of working on. So that's pretty cool as well. If anybody wants to really dig into Carrow's books, this is a really good spot to start because it has all the links that will point you in all the different directions of everything
Hmm.
that you've been talking about. So I'll put that down there too to make it really easy for everybody. And then I'll pull up the Faye Black now that I have it because I was like, I'm not sure this is Carrow.
No, no, that's me. Yeah. It's at the Rippaverse Discord at one point they were kind of like, "What's this Faye Black thing?" I was like, "Oh, that's just me, moonlighting as an erotica author." And they're kind of like, "Why would you write this?" And I was like, "Well, I don't, you should read it. It's like 99 cents, man. Like just go buy some." Like I won't tell anybody you read it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's our secret.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so all the you'll see like there's a bunch of BDSM stuff in there. And the reason it's in there is because just like I told you with the time traveling novel that made me upset, I read 50 Shades of Grey and that also made me upset. And so I went to actually kind of like dive into it and I found out that like BDSM like romance erotica genre is really badly represented. Like it's really like I read like a couple of the ones that are like top sellers and I read some mid sellers. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all like wish fulfillment, but it's also really dangerous to write that because in some cases, when people are trying to find answers, the internet is the worst place to go. It absolutely is
Mm,
because it's full of a lot of shock value. And so I wanted to write something that kind of explored like the more human nature of it,
mm.
while also kind of like not trying to be like super educational, but kind of slightly into that zone. So, and then I started off like don't judge me guys, but I started off with a lady, so a lady on lady romance. And the
Mhm.
reason I picked that coupling is because in everything for BDSM, the lesbian BDSM is the worst one. It's
Really?
really oh yeah, no, it's bad because they always depict like the female dom as just like a complete like capital C and she just like hits people to hit people and there's like no substance and then she'll just randomly cry for no reason. And so I wanted to do something that actually gave it more substance. So that's why I did that.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
I'll put the link here for Faye Black and all of her romance books. Make sure
Yeah.
that's in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Although
cool.
if you guys want actual plot though, since I've got your attention, that roll
Yeah.
D20 for love, that's probably the one yeah you guys will really want. So
Which one is it?
roll D20 for love. Um, it's right next to your mouse
Oh, right
cursor.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a whole ass novel right there that I've got for 99 cents. And it is a story about a grieving widow as she moves into her friend's town and she ends up finding love with somebody at her D&D game.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, that's a lot of writing.
Yeah, I do a
Yeah.
lot.
You do a lot of writing, yeah.
Yeah.
So anybody who doesn't know much about Carol, just so you know, she's a writer.
Yeah, my right
Definitely a
words.
writer. So what's going on with Rippaverse? Will you do any more writing in Rippaverse?
I don't know. It kind of depends on what Eric wants to get done, and sometimes I don't find out until like 48 hours before we do it. Yeah, right.
Can you write me a
Uh,
20-page comic book? Like
I
I
mean,
need it in 48 hours.
yeah, I have like some scripts that I've kind of like banked just in case.
Yeah.
But it really depends because Eric like has like his finger on the pulse, so there's certain things that he definitely wants to tap into. In some cases, he'll be like, "No, I'm the one that's going to tell the story." It's like, please tell it, take it, and do whatever you want with it. But I know I can say this for sure. I know that we're gonna do a Dirty Deeds book because he said it in a stream. It was in the Norfolka launch stream because Dan Vasc was there and he was like, "Oh yeah, open invite to anybody." So I showed up and he was like, "Oh, you're here." It's like, "Yeah, because you might talk about work shit and I have to be here to take notes, right?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, we got some Dirty Deeds in the works." And I was like, "You haven't even told anybody. You haven't even told me."
Yeah.
And
Just
that
so you know,
was
I wrote that.
yeah,
I should
yeah, I
probably
was
know a little bit.
there. Yeah, I was there, man. And so that's how I found out that we were going to launch like the whole Dirty Deeds thing. And I was like, no. So that was exciting.
Yeah. Well, when Rippaverse first started, obviously like everybody, didn't know anything about what was about to take place. So I did pick up ISOM 1 and
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And so, and then when Chuck Dixon came on, which Chuck Dixon has written one of my favorite stories of all time, Batman Nightfall, I was like, wow, Chuck Dixon's there too. And that's when I really got hooked. And then I'm a big fan of Will Conrad. I've had him on my podcast several times, and I would have him on every week if he had the time. I know his in Brazil, a little bit of time change and whatnot, but one of the most nicest people that I've ever met, and just an incredible artist. So, what was really cool is Rippaverse put together kind of an art book of everything
Yeah.
that Will has worked on. And then if you're not familiar, those that are watching, he's actually doing Flash Gordon with Jeremy Adams right now for Mad Cave, and that is one of the most beautiful comic books you'll see. So Will Conrad is just incredible. Obviously, you have Bennett, and you got a lot of really, and then Kanan White is one of my favorite artists as well. I just think
Hmm.
he's so spectacular. In fact, there's a channel called Black Comic Lords, and it's a group of black comic book fans that they talk about all the different comic books that are coming out that are like black superhero or black creator led, and they're having a virtual Comic Con on December 6th, and Kanan White's going to be joining them. And
Oh.
I'm just so happy for Kanan because he definitely should be there. He is
Hmm.
absolutely phenomenal. And then he just did a cover for a friend of mine, Paul Thayer, which I know he's a friend of all the Rippaverse folks over there. But he has a new comic book with Real One, which is a WWE wrestling
Mm.
star,
That's right up his
called
alley.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's called Lethal Leopard, and Kanan White did a cover, and it is spectacular. So you could check that out right now on
Didn't
Kickstarter.
Igor do the internals for that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Igor's incredible too.
Yeah.
So just a lot of really good talent right now at Rippaverse, and yeah, so happy with all the success. And it was really good seeing everybody in Dallas. You had a really nice booth there too.
Yeah.
A
No, it
big booth.
was.
It was huge.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we told the convention center, it's like, we're just gonna have like some talent, and they're like, what's the talent? So we gave them the list, and it's like, yeah, you've got some talent. It's like, yeah, so can we have like a little bit more space, like, please? They were actually super accommodating. They put us in a spot where if we were gonna have line management, it was an easy place, because one of the things on my bingo card is at some point getting yelled at by the fire marshal. It just happens every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had a really nice booth, and it's because we had James Taylor
Yes.
there. Yeah, so the voice of, Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan. Yeah, that's kind of a
yeah.
big deal.
Yeah, no, just some guy, right?
Just some guy.
He's super nice. I really wish we could have gotten more talent to come out. Like, I wish we could have gotten Kanan to come out and Igor. But they're family people, and they're kind of like, no, I want to be home with my kids. I'm like, oh, like, so, but if they want to be home with their family, I think that is the priority. One day I'm gonna get you all out. I swear. Like, you're gonna come to the convention. We're gonna sit at the booth together, and I know everybody's gonna make you draw for like 12 hours straight. And I'm sorry, but it's gonna happen. Okay, it's just gonna
Yeah.
happen.
As a comic book collector, I have a lot of things for Kanan to sign, so I definitely would love to meet him in person, and hopefully I'll have him on the podcast too. I have reached out, so we just got to figure out timing, and he's been pretty busy. He's doing a lot of stuff right now, as he
Hmm.
should, because he is extremely talented.
Yeah,
Um,
it's his
I was,
birthday today, by the
is
way.
it really?
Yeah, send him a message. It's his
I
birthday.
will. I'll send him a message right after we're done. I'll send him a
Yeah,
message. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's so cool. How did you get connected with Rippaverse? Like, where did that all start? Because you've been with them for a couple years now.
I was with them before Gandalf, man.
Oh, you were there at the very beginning
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was there when Eric's channel only had, well, I say only, but had like 300,000 followers. And I found his channel because I gotten into a fight with one of my teacher cohorts. And it was about, the most important topic of all, which was there's too many Spider-Man. And I was of the opinion that Spider-Man at this point in comics was used as a storytelling crutch because people didn't really know how to make characters. And so they were just always constantly making like other Spider-Man. And naturally, because I was attacking like, kind of like the weak, diverse characters, like sorry, I was the bigot in the room. They're like, no, you're wrong. And so as I was biking home, because I live close enough to bike home, I was like pedaling very aggressively, being like, no, I can't be wrong. Like I know this is a story crutch. And like anybody else in my situation, the first thing I did when I got home was like tried to Google somebody who agreed with me, right? So, and that's how I found Eric's video where he was like, "There's too many damn Spider-Man." I was like, "That's it. That's the
That's my
video."
guy.
Yeah, I feel validated now. But in that video, if you guys ever go watch it, I mean, if you haven't watched it already, it actually has very good educational points about why it is being used as a story crutch and about how people are just struggling to make characters, which happens when you have such, I don't want to call them aged IPs, but they've been around for a long
Been around
time.
a
So
long time.
at some point, they're kind of like, what do we do with this thing that's been around for 100 years? Should we reboot it like the 50th time because we don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
And after that, I ran into him, but I noticed he was live one day. And so I was just like, I threw him like $20. And I was like, thanks for making the video so I don't feel crazy, right? And so he looked at the camera and he was like, you're welcome, and winked. And I was like, that guy, he's smooth, right? And that was the start of how I met Eric.
Yeah.
And since then, like I would just show up to his streams, I would be chatty with him, and then he saw that I had a YouTube channel because I talked about authors and being organized and stuff like that. And it was interesting because Eric doesn't really like asking for help, right?
Yeah.
But like he was kind of like, I could use some of like your organization skills to help me with a project. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever you want. And the biggest organization project he has ever given me is still continues to be his email inbox, like forever. It's the non-ending void of things to do.
Yeah.
But that was how Eric and I met. So that was like in 2018.
Oh, okay. Wow. It's
Yeah.
been a while.
Yeah, so I met him in 2018. That's how we met. And at that time, I was just working for him part-time. So sometimes I'd be sorting his emails. Sometimes I'd be like, I think you're supposed to go to a meeting right now. And of course, like he'd be like, oh shit, right? So then he would go to his meeting. And I had the other job where I was writing all the comics that you guys are never going to see because I don't think that company's ever going to post them, but whatever. And so when I was working there, he had messaged me and he's like, hey, can you take Monday off from your job to come help me? I'm going to launch my comic. And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, let's do it. Right.
Yeah.
And
Just a
so,
little launch too. It was really small.
oh yeah, yeah, I was just gonna be there and just to monitor the inboxes. Everything would be fine. And the launch happened, and I remember very clearly around lunchtime, my boss at my main gig had messaged me and he was like, "How's it going?" And so I sent him I sent him two screenshots, one of the website with like they're already hitting like a million orders. Right, or a million, like $1 million. And then I sent him a picture of the inboxes with like thousands of emails. And he was like, so I'll see you like next Monday. And I was like, please and thank you. And like that whole week was just dedicated to helping Eric with this launch and everything. And a little while later, he was like, I could really use you to like be full time on the team. And I was like, okay. So I gave my 30-day notice at the company that has a whole bunch of comics I wrote that none of you will ever see. And I have been here since then.
Just to be clear, you wrote some comics
I
that will
wrote some
probably
comics
never
that
be
you'll
seen.
never see. You'll never see them.
I'm
No,
glad
that
that I'm glad that it doesn't bother you in
it
any way,
bothers me
Carol.
a lot. I put a lot of work into this, okay? I put so much work into this, and I'm kind of like, like I actually have the pages of like one of them like on
Uh,
my computer. I can never share them with anybody. That's like the worst. It's like I have this thing I did that I can never show anyone.
can you give us an idea of like the genre at least? Like what kind of genre it was that you were writing for or no?
I was writing for lots of different genres.
Oh, okay.
It was various character backgrounds, but that particular one that I can never share, but I'll probably
Yeah.
send it to somebody just to be like, look, I wrote this. Is a femme fatale cyberpunk story.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You can never have too many of those. I
Well,
love cyberpunk. Yeah, it's so
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, because I was talking to the devs at the time. They had like all these like different characters. Like, you don't have like any femme fatale and you don't have cyberpunk. And they were like, do we need those? And I was like, yes, I'm gonna write it right now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, you've all been so busy. It's crazy. I know you have a group of people that absolutely love Rippaverse, and then anytime someone's super successful, you're gonna have some haters. But you cannot deny that what Rippaverse is doing within the comic book industry has made some noise and has turned some heads, and I couldn't be
Hmm.
happier. It's really good, high quality stuff that has come out of Rippaverse, and I just love comic books. I don't care who's writing it. If it's something I enjoy reading, I'm going to buy it. And that's definitely something. And then getting Chuck Dixon to come on with Horseman, which I absolutely loved. I mean,
Yeah.
if you love Dixon's Batman run, you're going to absolutely love Horseman. Some similarities, very grounded street level, but way different in a lot of really good ways.
Mm-hmm.
So you should definitely check that out. And then he had, what was his, I just picked up
Salen.
Zalen, which I
Yeah.
love because I'm a big Green Lantern fan. Oh, I think it's in another box. But I'm a big Green Lantern fan, and just Chuck Dixon doing sci-fi. I'm like, yeah, let's
It
do that.
was really good.
It was
Yeah.
really good. The
Well,
art's
'cause
insane too.
yeah, because when he first pitched Horseman, like I hadn't actually read the book or the script, and I had like seen the concept art, which it looked a little different than what everybody else sees. And so when I saw it, I was like, "What are you doing, Chuck?" Like, right. And so that was like I wasn't on the editorial team at the time, so I didn't get to read the scripts or see the pages or anything. And basically, what happened was right before we launched Horseman, Kanan had done this poster of of Hector with the dude on the pool table, and that's when I was like, "That's my dude." Right? Like that's my boyfriend right there. And so then since that's where the joke, it's like that's my boyfriend. Like anytime like we talk about Horseman, like, oh, it's my boyfriend. And so at that point I went to the editing team. I was like, somebody give me a PDF of this comic. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to do it. I was like, no, it wasn't a question. You're
Yeah.
going to give it to me. And so they sent it to me. And I was going through, I was like, this is the most badass thing I've ever read. Right. And so I was very excited.
Yeah, Hector is dope. I mean, the way he cares for his family is getting really interesting right now, though, too, as some money has been made available to help him take it to the next level. So
Yeah.
I cannot wait for this next issue that I've already purchased. So as soon as that comes in, I cannot wait to read that. And I hope this is a very long run from Chuck. Chuck is known for pretty long runs, so I feel
Hmm.
like as long as he has a story to tell, he'll be willing to tell it for a long time. And I've had him on before, and I'm about to have him on again. We've been going back and forth on dates and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of geek out around Chuck. He's very much a legend within the industry, and I get really excited when I get to talk to him.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like him a lot. I remember when he came to the warehouse the first time to sign Alpha Core,
Mm.
and I had come to see him, and I was like, "Man, you've written like so much stuff." And then we started talking about like Robert E. Howard. He's like, "Did you know that I wrote a Conan book?" And I pulled it out of my bag. I was like, "I did actually. I need you to sign it, right?" Because I love Robert E. Howard. Like I
Me
could
too.
nerd out about Robert E. Howard for hours.
Yeah.
And so Chuck has a slightly different take on it. So the one thing I've always liked about Robert E. Howard's writing is it's got like this masculine like longing, I'll call it that. And I know some people are like, oh, it's just male wish fulfillment. Like, no, like if you actually read it, there is like a longing in the words, as he is depicting the story of the barbarian and everything that happens. And that's always like enchanted me. That I've always like every year I probably read like the complete works of Conan just
Yeah.
because I love it so much.
Yeah.
And it's always been interesting when I talk to other people because I'll talk about like, yeah, and then like Conan made some aliens and like there's no aliens in Conan. I was like, did you not read Elephant Tyro? Because that
Yeah.
is a fucking alien. He even says it's from space.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, I'm a huge Conan fan. In fact, I
Mhm.
just had Jim Zub on, and
Oh.
his current run is so good. I'm really enjoying the current run of Conan.
Hmm.
But I have almost the full completed works of Conan. So I'm missing just a few, just the Roy Thomas. And then I have a bunch of like Ace books and some of the older books of Robert E.
Yeah.
Howard with the Frazetta art. And yeah,
Hmm.
it's just Conan's one of my favorite characters of all time. I think
Hmm.
fabulous. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
I think either you love Conan or you misunderstand who Conan is.
Yeah, I mean, so you could technically say that most Conan stories start the same way, and I'll tell you guys the formula, right? So here's the formula. All
All
right,
right.
so we're in a bar, we're a tavern, we're in some place that's got winches and beer,
Yep.
right? And there's like one guy, he's the most alpha guy in this place, right? And he's very comfortable. He's king of these little people. Everything's great. And then at some point the door opens and Conan comes in. And Conan's not just any kind of Conan, he's the man Conan, right? and he's got an aura about him, and everybody looks at him and knows that this is Conan the man, right? But this little alpha of the little people sees Conan the man. He's kind of like, no, I can't have this guy like taking my vibe. Like, no, absolutely not. And so he goes to show Conan the man that he's actually the man, and Conan looks at this man and backhands him like a little bitch, and then says, I need a beer. And at some point, like two quivering women that have been there the entire time, like, glide up to his sides because they're cold. He's got no shirt on, guys. He never has a shirt on. And they keep him warm while somebody brings him a beer. And then that story's quest giver shows up and says, like, I have a job for you. And then the rest of the story starts.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's hilarious, Carol.
It never gets
Uh,
old either. I see it and I'm like, oh, here it comes, the quivering women.
That explains a lot of some of your writing that we were talking about earlier. It's
Hey,
all starting to make sense.
hey, none of those women are quivering. Okay, I can't take that
Okay.
from Robert. Okay, that's Robert's thing.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. That is so awesome, though. I couldn't agree with you more. I absolutely love, 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 love Conan. I have a box. As I was looking down, I have an entire box of, I have a few boxes, but this one right here, like I have my issue one is put away because it's a CGC slab, so it's in a different box. But here's issue two right here.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then I got issue 23 and 24 with Red Sonja and so on and so forth. I like Cole too, but Cole just doesn't hit the same way that Conan does. And actually, Roy Thomas took a lot of the Cole stories and made them Conan stories because
Mm-hmm.
Cole did not hit the way that they were hoping he would hit. But definitely an awesome character. And right now, if you're reading Scourge of the Serpent, you'll get some Cole story too right now in the current arc that Jim Zub is doing outside of the regular Conan the Barbarian. So yeah, it's so cool, man. And he's bringing in all the other, I shouldn't say old, they're all old, but all the other amazing characters that Robert E. Howard has done in the past as
Mm-hmm.
well. So it's so cool. I couldn't agree more. Love Robert E. Howard, big Frank Frazetta art fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I certainly fanboy over anything Frazetta. And I have been able to talk to Sarah a bunch of times and had her on. And yeah, just the way that they're kind of protecting and making sure everyone knows who this amazing artist is. And obviously, his Conan kind of set the standard for
Mm-hmm.
how we see Conan today. Because Robert E. Howard, I don't think saw Conan the same way Frazetta did, but his art was so amazing that that became who Conan is today. And I love the Conan we have today. I think it's amazing.
Nobody else could do a bowl cut that well, you
No,
know?
no,
No.
it doesn't work. I mean, look at
Yeah.
Guy Gardner in Green Lantern. That's
Yeah.
what you get if it's not
If
a
it's not
Conan.
good. Yeah,
If it's
yeah.
not, yeah.
Now I remember when I was reading one of the Super Boy comics. I think it was Superboy 50. And I
Mm,
was really confused because on the cover I was like, well, who gave Conan a gun? Right? Because
yeah.
it's supposed to be Superboy, but if you look at it, it looks a lot like Conan. And so for a minute there I thought I was reading a Conan story until he started talking. And I was like, oh, I guess it is Superboy. Okay, fine. Yeah, so
Bummer.
I was like, I was almost excited. I was like, somehow they put Conan in this superhero universe, and I know he's still gonna kick everybody's ass because he's Conan the man.
Yeah,
That's what he
exactly.
does.
All these superpowers, and he just has a sword, and he's still whipping everybody's ass.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he does. Yeah.
Absolutely. He has done some crossovers in some of the old Marvel books where he has met with some superheroes, but you need to leave him alone in the
Mhm.
Hyborian age. He does not
Yeah.
belong in the 616 or some of these other worlds within Marvel. Just leave Conan alone. So I'm glad he's with Titan and Heroic
Hmm.
Signatures, who owns Conan, the IP. They're doing such a great job of honoring Robert E. Howard and Jim
Hmm.
Zub because there's some stories out there that have been written that you could tell that they're trying to take Conan in a different direction. Because
Hmm.
he's bounced around through different publishers over time, and not everyone gets it. And Heroic Signatures is very protective of Conan,
Hmm.
and Jim Zub is it's incredible. I mean, he's at Robert E. Howard Days up in North Texas at Robert E. Howard's home every year, sitting at his desk trying to get inspiration or whatever from Robert E. Howard. But he really does honor Robert E. Howard, and I couldn't be happier with where the comic is today.
Yeah.
Good. So if you're not reading it, Carol, you should check it out if you haven't
I
read it.
will check it out. Like I
It's so
will.
good.
Okay.
So good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just send me a link so I don't have to search for it. I'm
It sounds
lazy
good.
like
I
that.
will.
Yeah.
I
I'll
will. I
give them
think
my money.
if you're a Conan fan, you're gonna love Jim Zub. In fact, I might have an extra trade that I'll send you. That way you can have
Oh,
a physical copy of it. Yeah.
oh, that was so nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, yeah. That's so cool. So what else is going on with you, Carol? I mean, we covered a lot. Anything else going on that you want fans to know?
What do I have going on? I have so many things going on right now. I'm trying to prep for next year,
Yeah.
'cause I'm trying to be ready for how busy work may or may not be. I don't like one thing I'll tell you guys about working with Eric is he keeps everything close to the chest, and so I'm always trying to be like, what are we doing? Like, what's happening? Like, what's coming down the pipeline? Are we releasing something? Like, what's happening? And one joke I was telling some of the folks in our Discord was that I was trying to figure out what was going on with the scheduling. At one point, I talked to Eric and I was like, "Why are you releasing this now? I had it scheduled for 2 weeks from now." And he was like, "The time is right." And I was like, "Who's telling you the time? I didn't tell you the time, right?" Um,
Maybe he has his own tarot cards.
I doubt it. No,
Okay, yeah, just
no,
kidding.
no. But so what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to finish a couple of books. So after Queen of Swords and Silence, there's another book that's a sequel to it, and it's called The Hang Queen. So I want to finish that next year. I definitely want to get Tales from Twisted or Twisted Tales from Twin Ravens done. It's my title, and I still stumble on it. So
It is kind of a tongue twister, though.
yeah, but it's I love that so much. So I want to do that. And then I should at least there's another story I want to do and it's called Sewer Magic and it's basically like almost like a cyberpunk Shadowrun kind of thing where magic comes back, but we're in like a dystopia. And so you're following like these three shamans while they're trying to be like, wow, we became shamans and we don't know what to do while things explode around us. What do we do? Right? So I wanted to play with all of that. And then I don't think I have one romance novel that I want to write because I found it, guys. I found this novel that I had 70% written and then I had closed the file and like tucked it away and never looked at it again. And so when I opened it like a couple weeks ago and I found it, I was like, wow, it's been like here this entire time. I could have published it, made money off this shit. So I'm like finishing it. I am going to send it to an editor though, because this is an older draft. So I know I've probably like missed some stuff. So I'll be like, here's my flaming dumpster fire. Please help me. Tell me what to fix. Thanks.
Uh,
So lots of writing, I guess, is the answer to your question. I'm going to do lots of writing. Yeah.
Very good. And has Rippaverse put together a calendar of cons that are planned for next year? I assume you'll be at a few of the Texas ones like you are every year, but outside of that, is there any other ones or mainly just in this area?
I know we're going to MegaCon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
MegaCon is a thing that we are doing in Florida. I
Hmm.
think they moved that to March, which I'm not angry about because it's kind of cold. But
Yeah.
so that one I told was going to be a big deal. So if there's any convention anybody wants to go to, I would probably go to MegaCon. After that, we're trying to do Dallas Fan Expo again, and then the ones after that, I'm not super sure. We had two people invite us to two conventions, but I'm not part of that planning team, so I don't know if we said yes or no. And sometimes people are like, "Come to our convention," and then it's like, "But pay us like, $7,000." And it's like, no, like I'm not paying $7,000 to come to your convention. Like, let's talk about this. Barter with me a little bit. So, but yeah, so I know yeah, so Dallas and then definitely MegaCon. SpaceCon, I think we have to look at the calendar because I think that one conflicts with a different one, but
Because they moved it, I think, to March or April, if I'm not mistaken, the beginning of the year for sure.
yeah, so like Fan Expo as a company are moving like a lot of their things around. And so it's turning into like this weird hot potato thing where we think one thing's in July, but then they moved it to June, and then one thing in June's now become March. And we're kind of like, what is it? Like I can't plan and give you money and go to it if you don't tell me. So, but
As a
they'll probably.
comic book collector and comic book fan, Fan Exmo, I believe, at least in Texas, I've been to a few cons here, is the best comic book related
Hmm.
con. Whereas Space Con was fun if you really like movies and you want to meet some of the
Yeah.
movie stars. I felt like it was more into that kind of direction. Although there was some cool comic creators. Obviously, you all were there, and I met a few other comic creators. It wasn't super comic book heavy as
No.
much as like a fan expo. So that's the one that I think definitely Rippaverse should be at. I just feel, and also your booth was really busy at Fan Expo Dallas when I was there. I stood in a line, so
Yeah.
I think that's a good
It,
thing.
it was super busy. I think I was there for like the main time, but because I was like talent sitting, as we call it, at one point when the talent was like, we're tired and we're ready to go, it's like, okay, we'll get in the car. And,
Yeah,
you know, their hotel is like an hour away. So I'm like, I'm not driving back. Right. Like that's what I told work.
sure.
But yeah, no, Dallas was pretty busy because at one point, like I was standing there, I was like, I've worked 12 hours. Like I have been here for literally 12 hours today and I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, at one point, like when my husband was with me, I was like, what's your Fitbit say that we're at? And he's like, I just hit 20,000 steps. I was like, same. Yeah, we both hit 20,000 steps. Yeah, because we're
That's
walking
crazy.
back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was a fun event. I cannot wait for Fan Expo again. I think out of the four or so that I've been to in Texas, I heard Houston's really good too, but I haven't been to that one yet. But that's my favorite one so far in Texas is Fan Expo. It's
I
pretty good.
really like the Bell County one.
I haven't been to that one
That
yet.
one's really good. So Bell County is hosted by Iconic Comics.
Okay.
And yeah, and it's not like a super huge one, but they do have comics there and they usually have a nice lineup. And like it was like it's been the nicest convention that I've ever gone to. Like the
Really?
staff are all super friendly. Everybody goes there that is super friendly. Like the talent that shows up is super friendly. Like I was just like, one of you has to be an asshole. Like where are you? Right?
And where was that one at? What city? Do you remember the city that it was at?
Temple?
Oh, in Temple, Texas? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like an hour drive from Dallas.
Yeah. I think
And
it's a
it
little,
was,
I'm in San Antonio, so I think it's a little bit closer to me.
yeah.
I think it's South Dallas, south of
Yeah,
Dallas.
because I have to drive through it to get to San Antonio. So
Got you. Yeah.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool. I'll do that one
yeah.
then. I'll try to go that
Yeah,
one.
you should. It's so nice. And like I think my favorite thing about it was the food was actually good because I hate convention food because like convention food's usually like overpriced junk food. And I'm like, look, I need substance, okay? Like I need like actual nutrition. I can't just eat Fritos with like, you know, this bean slop, okay? And they had like burgers and fried food, not fried food, burgers. They had Chinese food. There was an Italian sandwich place. Like they had
Uh-huh.
all kinds of food trucks out there. Like when somebody brought me lunch, I thought they had actually like left like the place to go to a restaurant. Like no, the restaurant was outside, and I was like, this is amazing. And then I ate the food. It was delicious.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of
Hmm.
standing for all you. So I get that. I get that. You
Yeah,
definitely need
I need those calories, man. Need them.
substance.
Granted, one time, I always get a little fixated on food. Like at one point when I wrote my first book, Queen of Swords and Silence, some of like the immortals in there, they're kind of like there was like some kind of deal that was going down. My character's like, listen, I got the good Girl Scout cookies, and like, you got the what? She's like, I got the good Girl Scout cookies. Okay, like, can we barter for this? And she had written a note in there. She's like, why are all your characters obsessed with food? And I was like, listen, food is delicious. I have it 3 times a day. Okay, it's so good.
Kind of need it too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind
So.
of a yeah.
Yeah, but then I just basically said, look, I'm food focused. Like, I'll pretty much do anything for a cheeseburger. You got some tacos, man. I'll like, you know, throw a guy off a bridge. Okay, I love tacos.
Yeah, I've seen that everywhere I look for your name, a taco mention is somewhere near that.
Yes.
So yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know your obsession.
When I was a bit more present on my channel, my people that would show up would be kind of like, "What taco did you have today?" I was like, "Thank you for asking. I had a, you know, blah blah blah," and I would mention the taco.
Yeah.
And at one point, like I had called all my friends together across like the vast internet to fill out a spreadsheet for me for the best taco place in their city. So that way, if I went to their city, I would go and find the best tacos. I still have this spreadsheet. Okay. I know where I'm going for these tacos, and
Yeah.
so far all the reviews look really good. So I love
I'm very
tacos.
fortunate. My wife is Mexican. We have tacos probably
Oh,
2 or 3 times a week.
oh,
Yeah, I'm pretty
I'm so
spoiled.
envious.
Yeah, and they're making tamales for the holidays. So yeah, I'm pretty spoiled when it comes to food. As you could see, I don't turn too many meals away when my wife, especially I have 3 daughters they're all my kids are adults, but two of my daughters live with me and they're very good cooks.
Oh,
Very,
that
very good.
sounds so hard.
Yeah, it's really difficult to live where I live.
And it's so tough.
It's
There,
so-
when I was so you talked about tamales, so I want to tell you this story.
yeah.
First off, I usually tell everybody I was a terrible teacher. I really was. I was like a complete shit teacher. But they all said I was a good teacher. I was like, you fool, no, I'm a bad teacher. But in my syllabus on my class, I had on the very back page, I said, if you are desperately failing this class and don't want to repeat, bring me tamales. Right? Like I had it on my syllabus, like it was right there. I was basically saying I am bribable, right?
I love
And
it.
yeah, and at one point, like I was kind of sad because I really wanted somebody to bring me tamales, and the lady across the way from me, her kids were bringing her tamales all the time, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, am I too assertive? Like, am I mean? Is that what it is? Is that why I don't get tamales? And then on the very final week of school, one kid that was absolutely failing my class, he came in with like this giant, like, the metal or the
Yeah.
temporary like thing, and it was full of tamales, right? And he came over and he put them on my desk and he's like, I need to pass this class. And I was like, man, say less, let's talk, right? And so I'm eating a tamale while we're going through all of his homework assignments. And I'm telling him, I was like, you know how you pass class? And he was like, how? I was like, you have to turn in your assignments, man. Like that's how you don't come back. And so at one point, I was like, okay, I'm going to give you like a 71%. He's like, no, I want an A. I was like, look, I can't just have you go from a 13 up to like a 92. People will ask questions. All right. So he was like, okay, fine, 71. So we had that wonderful discussion. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah. So and that was the only time one of my students bribed me.
Yeah.
Sad. So sad.
Well, I mean, if I had teachers like that in high school, I might have actually done decent. But yeah, I did not do good in school.
Well,
So
my favorite was one of the things that I always like, I make faces at is when you have to teach students about parabolas, if you remember those.
no.
Okay, so on the graph that they showed you, the
Mhm.
parabola is the swirly line,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That's the parabola. So it's the algebra thing, right?
Yeah.
And so they're always like, you have to teach your students about parabolas this week. And I was like, oh wow, like teaching them fractions wasn't painful enough for dyscalculus. Like, let's get into y squiggly lines or 2a plus 5. Like
Yeah,
that'll
yeah.
be fine, right? And so what I did was I taught all the students like the different kinds of parabolas, and I had them like, so you have a parabola shaped like this, what's it called? And they would write it down, right? So I was like, okay, progress. And then what we did was after that, I played the opening movie of Baby Driver, and I had them identify all the parabolas that the car made.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then at one point, like one of my students was like, wait, did somebody actually do like algebra to decide these turns? I was like, yes, they did. Just like they do algebra to decide the shape of the freeway. And they were like, what? And it's like, and now we're building a roller coaster. And then we built a roller coaster.
That's cool.
Yeah. But
Uh,
yeah, I always hated like having to teach kids stuff that they would never use. And so like parabolas, I'm like, this is the most useless thing I could ever teach you. Like, let's go back to skip counting money.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's hilarious, Carol. That's hilarious. Well, Carol, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. It was such a pleasure seeing you at SpaceCon, you and your husband, getting to meet your husband for the first time, and I wish nothing but the best for you. Yeah, I hope you come back again.
Yeah.
We'd love to
Anytime
have you
you
back.
you tell me to come back, I'll probably show up.
I appreciate that, Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was a pleasure. I'm gonna put all the links below so that way anybody that wants to, whether it's romance, comic book related, I'll put all the links there. I'll put your link tree there to make it really easy. How to follow Carol on socials. Get out there and support her and all of her titles. And obviously, make sure you're supporting the Rippaverse. But Carol, thank you
Yeah.
so much for hanging out with me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope we can do it again.
Yeah, let's do it.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me, friends.
Thank you, everyone.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.